My name is Tom Gibson. I'm a Research Development Manager working in the Research Development team in Research Enterprise. And our role is basically to support applicants to fellowship schemes, as well as a variety of other schemes, helping them with reviewing the documents and providing them guidance and support really to try and make sure they're as successful as they can be when they apply. The Fellowship Academy is a network, but it's also, as well as networking, it's an opportunity for training and career development as well. So I guess I would think of it as an exclusive club almost that you get into by having either an externally funded or an internally funded fellowship. And once you're in through the door, as it were, there's a networking aspect to it where all the fellows are able to go to events and to see people from different disciplines and to learn from one another. But there's also a whole suite of training and development opportunities that they're able to go to as well. So in terms of learning and development support, they have a range of kind of things covering leadership, people management, how to be an influencer, how to influence policy and engage with policy. So I mean, there's a range of things that they're able to be a part of, and it really does suit all individual needs. You know, I think that's the great thing about it, is that it's tailored to what the needs of the fellows are. So it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of approach to training. They can choose, pick and choose what really is beneficial to their development. So in terms of guidance, there's a lot around enhancing their academic CVs, working towards probation and promotion, providing a lot of advice in terms of career progression would be the main guidance that they provide. And like I say, there's a range of different training as well to do with public engagement and influencing policy and stuff like that as well. My very first day actually was the launch event of the Fellowship Academy, and I remember going over there and seeing some of the fellows who'd already been funded, who'd just been kind of granted access to the Academy. And at the time I think we only had about 30 fellows, because these are really prestigious awards, they're really hard to get. And so part of why the Academy was set up was to then increase the number of these fellowships that we would bring into university. And the main kind of mechanism for that was that the research environment, as they call it, is such a big part of getting a fellowship. It's one of the three kind of key components that we talk about. And having a strong research environment where there's this culture of development and training and personal growth then allows us to write that into the kind of the grants in the pre-award stage, as it were, whenever the fellows are writing their proposals to hopefully be given the money. And because we've been able to give this package, if you like, this additional something that makes us stand out, it's actually seen an increase in the number of fellowships that we've got since the fellowship launched in 2020. I think, like we say, we had maybe 30 or so at the start. We've now doubled that to almost 60. And these schemes, their success rate is anywhere from 5 to 25%. So they are competitive, they're hard to get. And having the Academy that gives us something that makes us stand out and makes reviewers think that this is a good place for the award to be held has been hugely beneficial to our success rate. The Fellowship Academy has been hugely beneficial to the university because, like I say, it's really increased the number of awards that we've been able to bring in. These awards, we had a handful of the really hard, prestigious awards that you have to get. We had a really small number of them before we launched the Academy. Things like the Future Leaders Fellowship, the Royal Society University Research Fellowship. Those success rates are, say, 5 to 10, 15%. Having these people this real top talent come to Queen's, and for us to retain them and for them to be on a pathway then to a permanent position at the end of their fellowship, which is another thing that's offered by the Academy, means that we're able to retain those people and build a really strong kind of research base around them. In terms of the research that has been funded since the Academy launched, it's crazy. It really is how broad it is. My kind of focus is mostly on the engineering and physical sciences, so I see most of that, but even within then, the scale of awards is just crazy. Anything from advanced mathematics through to laser physics, through to smart monitoring of infrastructure, new chemical synthesis and scale-up of new chemical synthesis it really is quite broad what I've seen. And then you take into account the other faculties, and you've got, anywhere from the arts, the humanities, through to new cancer therapies. It's really amazing. How will it evolve in the next 5 years is a real good question. I think for me, how the fellowship can evolve is offering a pathway within a pathway, I guess. So people get onto the Fellowship Academy and they're from a variety of different levels. So where I can see the fellowship really strengthening is that evidence where we would see the people who are coming in on the earlier stage fellowships, then going on to secure the late stage fellowships, all from having this interaction within the Fellowship Academy. Interacting with those people who are already on the late stage fellowship and enabling that to kind of create a self-fulfilling prophecy almost, or a success brings success kind of down the line. I think these things are only getting harder to get, these fellowships, because they are competitive, but by having more of them in a wider, more diverse subject remit, and hopefully towards the more competitive awards as well will be a huge benefit. So in my day-to-day, I've supported the Academy in quite a few different ways. For a time, I was part of the Fellowship Academy Operations Group, which deals with the running of the Fellowship Academy in a way. And it's great because it has a wide range of representatives from ourselves in research development, but also our colleagues in the operational side of things, but also the fellowship. The fellows themselves have a voice in that operations group as well. So I was part of that for a while, which was there to kind of influence the training program, the networking events. But then taking that aside, I've also been involved in my day-to-day, if you like, would be the kind of pre-award support for the fellows. So in that terms, it's basically when people come to us and they say, I want to apply for this, we give them a lot of feedback, non-expert feedback typically, on is it easy to understand for somebody like me who's not a physicist or a biologist? Is it exciting? Does it make you think, wow, this is something that we really should fund? Is the research environment there? Is Queen's the best place to host this? So it's looking for those kind of fine details that can make the difference between being funded and not being funded, basically, and trying to get the proposal up to the most competitive level that it can be. Actually, I think the fellowships are one of the most rewarding things about my job at Queen's, and the reason for that is that our main purpose, I guess, is to help people to bring in money, which then allows them to do research within the university, which is good for them, it's good for the university. But with fellowships, it's different because a lot of the schemes and the fact that the Fellowship Academy offers them a pathway to a permanent position at the end of it is really rewarding, because once that person gets that fellowship, they know that it's the uncertainty that they would typically face by these confined contracts that are maybe 3 years or so, and then they're looking for another one, and they're looking for another one. But once they get this award, then that kind of going on to that permanent position really helps them to define their career. It takes away that uncertainty and that stress and enables them to go on and do kind of great things in their career. So, and that stability that they get is really important to them, and it's one of the more rewarding parts of the job.